Okay, this is the drum set. Right here's the bass pedal. Now you put this stuff together, it's pretty straightforward. This is called a drum. Actually, that is really loose. Really loose. Look at this. This came out. I gotta tighten it. You tighten all these things, all these screws right here with a drum key. It's a universal. It is a universal size. This is called a drum key. See? Looks like an Allen wrench, kind of. That shape right there. This puts the whole drum set together, and some of them you can just turn by hand, like these little knobs here. And you just put the drum set together. They have cymbal stands, a hi-hat stand. This hi-hat stand is a little different. It has this, it has like this hi-hat stand's a little different. There's a hi-hat, anyway, it's hard to tell here anyway. But they have other things like that you add to the drum set, like over here, not on camera, I'll show you actually. I'll just show you the other things. There are stuff like this, I'll show you. This is the extraneous stuff that you can get later to add to a drum set, like a cowbell. And that's not as important, but I'm getting that out of the way so that you can see what's really important on a drum set are the drums and the cymbals. And you have drumsticks, and you put it all together by screwing it screwing these little screws by hand. You can turn these by hand, and a drum key will put the rest of it together like this. You put it right on the thing, and it tightens it. And once you get your drum set together at home, you can change the heads and put new heads on them. You tighten them like this. You tighten one side, and once that tightens a little, you go to the opposite side of the drum and tighten it just exactly the same amount. And then you go to here and tighten this one opposite amount, or just the same amount. And as you tighten it, it gets higher pitched. So it starts out really high pitched with the snare drum, then it goes. This one's a little. And I'll show you how to do all this stuff. This is too ringy. There's metal touching on that. I don't know how that got on there. You can take that off. These cymbals go on. They have these little pads. That go on the cymbal stand thing. I'll show you. You can easily figure that out. So it's not touching metal to metal when you first put your drum set together. First put your drum set together. It has this. There's a cymbal stand. You turn these little knobs to change the shape of it and then tighten it. And then it has like a little washer to stop the cymbal from going onto the metal and cutting this thing or whatever. And then you put a little pad, a little cymbal pad thing on it, and you put the cymbal on. And it sounds good. They have things that you can tighten on the top of it, like this one, and another thing. And for some reason the metal was on here touching it. I don't know how that happened, but I'm just going to take that off. Generally, this does not fall off. And besides, they have other things you can get for fun, like this thing, or a tambourine. This is This is an antique tambourine. I don't know where it came from. This is an antique tambourine. And those things are extra to the main drum set. Now I'll show you what's really important is the main drum set. You have a bass drum pedal. Generally there's one bass drum, but some people play double bass. They have 2 bass drums. And you just put the thing on. It has like a spring. It's already together and you just tighten it and put it on when you first get it. And then you make sure these are tightened in. You can change the tightness of it, and they have heads on the back of the drum too. They have heads on the back of the drum too, on the underside. And that makes, and sometimes they don't, but anyway, you'll get it and put it together. It's really easy. All you need is a drum key. Sometimes you don't even need that to put it together when you first buy it. Then you're ready to play. The hi-hat goes up and down like this. You can close it with your foot on the pedal of the hi-hat. You can hit it when it's up and close it. Or you can just unscrew it. This one has an auto release. You can unscrew it. Usually most of them you unscrew and then it stays down. So it's easier to play with these other pedals. With double basses, that's how you kind of have to do it unless you're like able to go back and forth between. But just play one bass pedal. Just unscrew it, leave it down. Or you can press the pedal down and then tighten it and it comes back up. This has an auto release or whatever, but they have different things like that. Anyway, you get the whole drum set together. You're ready to play. Anyway, let's play. Okay, I'm going to show you how to actually play. Okay. Get rid of this cymbal thing right here so you don't. This is a microphone. You can mic your drums. That's another way to record it. All you need is one microphone to record your drums. I'm going to get this mic out of the way. You need one microphone. Just place it strategically. Place it strategically. I'm getting this one. You want to place it so that it doesn't, this is an iPhone right here. This is an iPhone right here. And I went to YouTube and searched how to mic your drums, and the first or second video was this very professional guy, had a huge recording studio. He'd been doing it, since he was a kid. It looked like her for 10 years, 20 years, something like that. And he was very professional. He said you only need one mic to mic your drums, or you can go around and mic each drum individually, like these bass drums. I haven't started to be mic'd, but I gotta run it into the interface, and it sounds almost just as good with one microphone. And the iPhone mics, as long as they don't blow out too loud, and they have a good sensor, for when it gets too loud, it adjusts the input level, makes it lower so it doesn't blow out. So I can play these drums really loud, and from right here on an older iPhone, this is an iPhone 7, and this is the year 2020, it has a good enough microphone. That has this drum, that camera there is a different iPhone. It has a good microphone on it too. And then you can just record the drums at a safe distance from it so it picks it up and equals a good sound. Or the guy says that you put this right here and put this mic for one mic. He says put the mic about right here to mic the whole drum kit in front of the snare drum, about right here. And we're not going to do that. We're just going to record it on the iPhone, and I already tested it, and it sounds really good. It sounds really good. It's unbelievable, but I'm gonna set these mics up later. Sometimes I set them up. So that's for everyone out there. You don't need that much to just record your drums. Just make sure the volume levels don't sound, just that's it's okay enough like that. Anyway, hi. I'm gonna turn this cymbal so you can see my face a little bit better. Okay. Now, here's what you do. Here is what you do to play the drums. This is how to actually play the drums. Now, I'm gonna unscrew this a little bit without this decoration on it and move this back a little bit so you can see my face. And this is how you adjust it. It has little knobs that you loosen a little and tighten it, and you can adjust it. Move that out of the way. Let me tighten it a little more and you know what else? You know what else? You can get earplugs or headphones to stop the sound, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. You can put in things. You can put things into your ear that doesn't hurt your ear to stop the sound, so you don't. So when you're playing way too loud for too much, don't worry about that. Okay, that's something else. Anyway, I apparently have short shorts on. Some people are going to be opposed to that. They think, well, why does he have short shorts on? You're supposed to cover up your entire body when you speak to others. I'm not worried about that. That's why this right here is a dark color all around my private parts, so you can't tell what's what of my private parts. Okay. Okay, so here's the hi-hat. I'll just do that. I'll loosen it. You know, I like doing this so I can switch it really fast. This has a special cool thing. You can get stuff like that later. And it just releases, and when you press down on it, it opens again. But I do that and it releases. So here's how you play. I'm going to keep it down for beginning stuff. You don't even need to open up to do the hi-hat and do all this like. You can do that cool stuff. The real thing is playing a drum beat. The real thing is playing a real drum beat. Now here's what you do. This is the whole theory behind the whole thing. You keep that going steady. You keep that going steady according to a beat. This is the whole concept behind playing drums. You keep one hand, typically your right hand if you're right-handed. If you're left-handed, you play like this. Forget all that stuff. You know, if you're right-handed. Or you can play like this. Play with your left hand. If you're left-handed. Now we're going to do right-handed because that's how I am and most people are. So I'm going to do right-handed. See that? That's one of the most simple drum beats you can play, and I'm going to show you how to play that. And almost, you know, some people learn faster, some people learn at various rates, but I'm going to show you how to play this. Now, what you do to play that is, and I'm also going to show you how to play this. When you hit a crash cymbal, try to hit it the same time as you hit the bass drum. Like when you hit this bass drum pedal, it doesn't take that much force because you're sitting down. You can do it with the muscles in your ankle a little bit, or just push down the whole thing. It doesn't hurt your foot. It doesn't hurt people's feet. Say like they had leg problems or something, and like you can still play it as long as you're able to push down on the drum. Now, you hit the cymbal generally. Sometimes you can hit the cymbal not the same time as you hit the bass drum, but generally, this is how I'm teaching you to get started. You hit the bass drum the same time as you hit the cymbal. and you hit this, and you generally hit it with your right hand. Sometimes you hit it with your left hand, but that's how you start learning how to really play these different cool. Anyway, you hit it with your right hand if you're right-handed, left hand if you're left-handed. Right hand with the same time as you hit the bass drum. You don't need two cymbals. There's another crash cymbal here. That's another funny one, a China cymbal. Here's some funny one. And here's the ride cymbal. Generally, this is a crash cymbal. That's what you hit in between the drum beat. A ride cymbal is like the hi-hat. Now here's how you play the real beat. A ride cymbal. Now I'm going to show you how to do that. Here, the way you learn how to play beats, say like you hear something in some music or in a video or on the radio or in this video, anywhere you hear music and there's a drum beat, you play it and then play it, you press pause on it or stop playing it, and you think about how it goes in your head and you play it really slow until you match up where your right foot and your left hand, when you're playing the beat with your right foot and your left hand, like you match up how this stays steady. You play it really slow and you figure out how do you hit this hi-hat or ride cymbal the same time you hit the bass drum and the snare drum. And let's just slow it down, okay? Let's slow it down. This is how you actually play drums. The whole concept is to keep the hi-hat going steady at one beat, or to keep the ride cymbal going steady at one beat, one constant tempo, like this. And while that hand is doing that, you play a beat on the bass drum and the snare drum, like that's the most simple one, and I'll show you how to put it together with the hi-hat. Or you can do a more complicated one. Start thinking about cool ways you can do it, like. And as a beginner, you don't hit it exactly right. You get it like a fraction of a second, a teeny tiny fraction of a second off. Like you might go like that, but not that I exaggerate a lot. Just try to get it be confident. Try to get it as clear as you can in the idea that you imagine in your brain how the beat goes, like. Or just play that exact same one. And you learn the different variations of it, and you're able to play it amazingly well. Just play, here, we'll try this one. Let's play it in slow motion, you know, how you're supposed to. When you're learning how to really play it, you think about how it matches up. You go, this is hitting every 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. That's called a measure. Every time it plays 4 times, that's 4/4 time. that means it hits 4 times and starts over again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. And you can hit the first time that it hits it for every one of those 4. That's called a measure. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's one measure. And you put the beat right there. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can play that again and again. And this hits on, this is 1, 2. On the second measure, only the hi-hat hits. The first one, you hit the bass drum at the same time. 1. Then you hit the hi-hat alone. 2. Then on 3, you hit the snare drum at the same time. 3. Then on the 4th one, you hit just the hi-hat. 4. Let's try that again. Let's try that again. 1. That was 1. Let's try the first beat of the whole measure. 1. And then on 2, you hit just the hi-hat. 2. See, the first one, you hit the bass drum and the hi-hat together. Let's try it again. 1. Then 2 is just the hi-hat by itself. 2. Then 3 is going to be the snare drum and the hi-hat together. 3. Then 4 is the hi-hat by itself together. So let's do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4. So on 1, on 1, you hit the bass drum and the hi-hat together. 1. On 2, you hit just the hi-hat by itself. 2. Let's try that again. 1. That's the bass drum and hi-hat together. 1. 1. 1. 1. And then on 2, you hit just the hi-hat. 2. Then on 3, you hit the snare drum. This is the snare drum. This is a snare drum. Snare drum. Snare drum. Bass drum. That's a bass drum. Bass drum that you hit with your foot pedal. That's a bass drum. And a snare drum. Snare drum and hi-hat. Let's do this. On 1, you hit the bass drum and the hi-hat together. On 2, you hit just the hi-hat by itself. On 3, you hit the snare drum and hi-hat together. On 4, you hit just the hi-hat by itself. Let's try it. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can go faster or slower, or you want to keep the tempo a constant tempo. Some people play, they have a machine that makes a click sound and they play it exactly to that click. But it's better to not do that. It's better to just, the drummer creates the whole tempo and the band plays along with it. The band plays along with it. You need the basic tempo created by the drum set. Some of the most historic classical music, Chopin on piano, creates variable tempos as the piece of music plays, or as the musician plays the as the musician plays the I drank a bunch of coffee. Anyway, so let's try that again. Let's not think about the tempo as much. Let's just play it. Here's how you're gonna do it. Just start the hi-hat going like this with your right hand. You need drumsticks, or you can do it wherever you are. Just play on like pillows or something with your hand, with your right hand. You don't need a drum set in particular, or you can put things out like cans, like big cans with plastic tops, and hit them with your hands, or put drums like in between your legs, or hit different things. You can set them out and play that way, and stomp on the floor a little bit to play the bass drum. And you can play wherever you are. So you keep the right hand going constant tempo, going at a steady tempo. Every time the bass drum hits, you hit the hi-hat 2 times. Then the next, you hit the snare drum when it hits, and you hit the hi-hat 2 times. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Here's where you hit the cymbal in between. Here's where you hit the cymbal in between. And when you're playing this at the tempo again, it's 4/4 time. That's what this beat is called. That's what the time signature is called. You have a time signature. And when you're writing music, that's what it's called. They call it a time signature. It's either 4/4 time. Sometimes it's 2/4 time, which means there's only 2 beats every measure. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3. But if it's by 4, it's like 1 2 3 4 2 2 3 4 3 2 3 4 4 2 3 4. When it's 2/4 time, it's 1 2 2 2 3 2 4 2. And they have weird ones like 4/5 time and 3/6 time, and these other weird ones. All songs you hear on the radio are 4/4 time. Most songs on the radio are 4/4 time, or sometimes it's twice as fast in 2/4 time, but it's the same basic idea. So here's what we're going to do. So you keep the hi-hat steady. And replace the hi-hat for one. I drank coffee. It's like making me like a little jittery. I don't know why. But my hands are standing perfectly still, even though I drank a bunch of coffee. I had a few cups, I think. Anyway, apparently there's nothing wrong with me, thank God. That just doesn't run in my family as much. I'm very fortunate. Anyone can get anything wrong with them, though. These drums will keep you healthy. When you're playing drums and doing something physical, it's a really good workout when you start playing drums more. Okay, now here's what you do. The first beat, you want to switch out the first beat with a crash cymbal instead for just one beat. So you're going like this. And you can switch out different drums and keep your hands doing the same beat. Like, we'll just do it with a cymbal at first and play that same beat and switch one out and keep the bass drum going and the snare drum going on that same beat, and just switch out the crash cymbal for the first beat here and there. We'll try it. Okay, now here's a cool thing. The hi-hat is kind of the same as the ride cymbal. You play that at a steady tempo, and you can just play the same thing on the ride cymbal instead. Most drum sets have a ride cymbal, a hi-hat, a snare drum, a bass drum. We'll start that again. They have a bass drum, a snare drum, a hi-hat. This is in order of most importance to a drum set. A bass drum, a snare drum. That creates the real beat. That creates a beat. The hi-hat is next. You can play all sorts of stuff. You just want to make sure to keep the hi-hat going and to slow it down and figure out how to get it just right. Okay, you have the bass drum, snare drum, hi-hat, bass drum, snare drum, hi-hat, ride cymbal. And then you have tom-toms. These are called tom-toms. Most drum sets, a standard drum set has like this one. It has these two on top of a bass drum, how the classic rock drum set is. Jazz drum set typically just has one up here and a floor tom. These are the two tom-toms that are on top of the bass drum usually. I have two bass drums. Anyway, tom-toms. This is a floor tom. And these are the regular tom-toms. That floor tom, that's a floor tom. That's on the floor. Here are the regular tom-toms. And that's the whole drum set. Bass drum, snare drum, hi-hat, ride cymbal, tom-toms, and floor tom, and crash cymbal. And that's all. That's pretty much all that it is. The basic, again, the most important things: bass drum, snare drum, hi-hat, crash cymbal, ride cymbal, or some order of that. Those are the most important, and the order doesn't matter as much. And then you have tom-toms. That's the whole drum set. So we learned the bass drum, snare drum, hi-hat, crash cymbal, and ride cymbal. Now, let's try that again. Let's play that basic beat and switch from the hi-hat and hit this cymbal in between and switch to the ride cymbal instead. After you hit the crash cymbal, it's like something different to the song. Either the curse, don't say the curse words. But in a song, they have a verse and a chorus, two different parts. Generally, all songs are made up of a verse and a chorus. And some songs are have all different storylines and stuff added to them. And they may have more than one chorus, or, anyway, all songs have a verse and a chorus. Sometimes you can play the hi-hat on the verse, and the ride cymbal on the chorus. Verse, chorus, or the other way around, chorus, verse. It's only a verse and a chorus to most songs. So when the song changes, you have a good feel for it. You don't really have to know too much more about it other than what sounds good. Everyone has an ear and they know what sounds good. If you have, some people can't hear, but that's the extraordinary minority. Most people have heard music and they know it sounds good. This is for people who can hear. I don't know why you'd want to play drums if you can't hear. That would be something a little different. You can hear, so that's okay. And that would be something else. Let's play the drums. Cool thing, when you hit this, when you switch out the first beat for a crash cymbal instead, and then you have to move this hand all the way over to here and hit it right at the right time, you're gonna have to move your arm pretty fast. So when you're going from one drum to the next, all playing at the same tempo sometimes, you have to move pretty fast from here to here to get it just right. And it's like a small fraction of a second that you move your hand to the next drum instead of just playing it in the same place. So you have to go kind of fast to here, and it's a good workout. It's like gardening or something like that. And you get accustomed to it. It gives you an excuse to do move and get physically active. And anyway, let's just play the drums. Okay. Beat that I was playing. Now the way you play this is the beat. Let's play it slow, really quick. I think you got the idea. You hit the bass drum the same time you hit this. You hit the bass drum the same time you hit the hi-hat, and then you hit the hi-hat by itself for the second beat. First, second, third, fourth. The first measure you just go the same beat we were doing, the same thing we were doing. But then the second measure, you hit the bass drum on the first and second beat of the hi-hat at the same time. The first and second beat of the hi-hat. And then everything else is the same. So here's how both measures go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4 in a row. Here's how it sounds. The second measure, you hit the bass drum the same time twice in a row instead of just the hi-hat by itself on the second beat. 1, 2, 4. 1, 2, 4, 1, 2. put them together and play sometimes just the simple one, and sometimes hitting the bass drum twice in a row on the on those beats. Let's put them together and play different variations of it as we play. Out of force of habit, because I play drums, I played it kind of differently my own way. I didn't hit the bass drum sometimes, and then you start getting an understanding of how the real drum beats play in music and how you're used to hearing it. And oh, that sounds good. When people get excited and they're like, cool, this sounds awesome, makes me feel happy, and you get an idea for what sounds good, and then you play that on the bass drum and snare drum. There's a real different one. There's a real different one. That is, you play it really slow. You think about how you're going to play. You think of the beat you want to play without the ride cymbal, without the hi-hat. See, it sounds cool when you don't hit the bass drum sometimes, and you just, you get in sync in your mind with what the cool sound of music is, and you just open up to it. It's music, it's not going to do anything. And you joke about it, and it's like funny, and you just start to play, and then you add the ride cymbal or the the ride cymbal, and then you play it slower in slow motion to figure out how it syncs up with your right hand constantly doing this and the beat still playing. And you learn each one of those in different ways. Like some ways you hit the snare drum in between when you're hitting the ride cymbal. Anyway, I don't know, but you play the different variations of it, and you play it in slow motion, play it back slow, and figure out how your hand hits, and you learn the different variations. And in a 4/4 time signature, this 1 2 3 4 in a 4/4 time signature, you can have the drums playing really fast at a 1/16 speed. At a 1/16 speed for the 4 measures. One, two, three, four, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 4, 4. So on every beat, you start in the same right hand and play it 4 times for every beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 4. 4, 2, 3, 4. playing regular, as the beat is just regularly going, you hit this 16 times for one measure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 16 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I can't say it fast enough, but you can play it. And all that takes is just doing this again and again with your hands at the same beat, like this. And you sync it up by your right hand. It feels better to hit the it feels good to hit the drum or the thing you're playing to emphasize it more and hit it a little stronger. And that's where you can emphasize the right hand a little stronger, like in the first beat. And it feels better that way because you kind of like ignore the rest of the 4 of them as, the rest of the 3 of them. You go. And you emphasize it. You have, and it starts playing every beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. And this is the cool fill. It's kind of like a solo, like somebody does a solo on guitar. You play this in between and hit the cymbal. This is how you play the tom-toms. 1, 2, 3, 4. And instead of just playing the same thing again and again, you switch out. You're still playing the hands all the same way. You're just doing this again and again. And you keep that pace constant. You keep that pace constant, and you play the other drums as you're doing it, and you can play the various drums, and all you're doing is this. And you switch out that same drum for other drums and cymbals, and you keep playing the same tempo. And that's how you really start playing all these different things. And you emphasize your right hand when you hit the bass drum on the ground. You used to doing that's one way to do it. Some people play it in these weird ways and hit like different ones at different times. That's more double bass, and that's a newer thing. I learned the standard way with one bass drum where you hit the right hand, and you can start learning the other ways too. It's about learning all the different ways that are possible, and there's not that many of them because there's only those 16 beats per measure. Or you can do it at a rate of 3. That's another more complicated thing that I learned. And you can play 3 times per beat instead of 2 times per beat. And it sounds, if you want to know what that is, it's like, see, it's by 3 or by 4. Let's just keep it. That's something else. That's like my own. That's like something I learned, and you can learn that too. But let's just, and that's all of it. That's all of it. It's either by 3 or by 2, pretty much. Or there are variations like by 4 instead of 2, or by 6 instead of 3. And that's pretty much all the beats that I'm aware of that people are capable of, by 3 and by 2, when you do the fills and the actual beats. So that's pretty much all of it. But let's actually try to play that fill that, like, let's play the beat, let's keep the beat going, and you can hit the bass drum at the same time as you hit the snare drum sometimes. That's something else. You can play all those different variations of the beats. And try to keep this the ride cymbal going constant, going at a steady pace. That was a more faster one that a beginner is probably not going to be able to play unless you're a genius. Unless you're a genius. Some people, you never know. They may, but let's play the simpler one that maybe, you can be at almost the intermediate level of playing drums already, and pretty much a beginner, but almost that's later. This will get you started on playing the drums. So let's do the fill in between. That's the beat, and you can hit the crash cymbal sometimes, switch it out for the first beat. Typically you go 4 measures, and then you can play a fill, or you play a regular beat for a long time, and then every way long measures, every 8 measures, 16 measures, 32 measures, then you do a cool fill in between and hit the crash cymbal and go back to playing the regular beat. A fill is when you play the other drums and do some cool, like almost like a lead solo or something on guitar, but not quite that much. It's just like in between, and you hit the cymbal and go back to the regular beat. So let's try it. I'm going to slow the tempo down so I can show you exactly how I'm playing this beat. We're going to go. Now this slowed it down half as much. This slowed down the whole beat half as much to where I'm hitting the bass drum on 1 and the snare drum on 4. Instead of the bass drum on 1 and snare drum on 2. Try this beat. This is something a little different. And when you play that really fast, it's going. Different one. That's something you can try. That's another type of thing. Anyway, let's just keep this going. You want to keep the hands doing this. right hand is constantly doing this on the drums, okay? Your right hand is constantly doing this. Any human being, it's a drum set, you know, who has two arms can play the drums, or you just do, it's, you know, nothing funny about it. You're just playing the drums. Okay. Sometimes you can hit the ride cymbal as a crash cymbal too. So, you know, sometimes you hit it with the tip of the drumstick. That's how you keep the, and then sometimes you hit it on the edge of the drumstick. And even though when you hit the ride cymbal, it sounds like a crash cymbal too when you hit it on the edge of the drumstick. That's it. That's it. Okay, bye. Click like on the video. Look, it's God in heaven coming. Heaven and God. You can trust the Lord. You know, you can trust God and Jesus with you. No one's gonna hurt you unless they're a mean person or you're doing something wrong. You don't realize it and you hurt them. You didn't. How could you have hurt them that much when you know, you're trying to be nice? That's how to play drums. I'm getting out of here. Okay, bye. See, it makes you stronger to play drums. I don't know why. I'm gonna take a break. I gotta use the bathroom. Bye. 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 That's how to play drums.